Should I sell now? Maybe. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Scott Walters. Thanks for checking in to another video. Before we get started in today's topic, please take some time to give the video a like, leave me a comment. Unlike other people in this industry, I respond to my comments and I don't have an assistant or anybody doing that. I do it myself and I do it for you guys. I do these videos mainly for fun, to keep myself sharp, hopefully pass on usable information for you, start a discussion, because what I'm really motivated to do is seeing people make smart choices. And so one of the things that we're going to get into right now is, should we sell right now while we're at the height of the market? And before I give you my thoughts on this specific topic, there's a guy, Grant Cardone. He's a billionaire. He's came from nothing. He's built a lot of wealth, and so I heard that he actually said this same thing. So for whatever that's worth, this is really the way. This is really what I feel now. The funny thing is I'm almost, I'm in a situation right now myself where it's tempting to do this exact thing, what I'm about to talk about. One of the things that Grant Cardone said, and what I believe we should be considering right now, is we are in the biggest housing bubble we have ever seen. And there's going to be more talks, and I'm not going to get into it as deep in this one. Otherwise, I'll just, I'll be all over the board. But this is a huge housing bubble. Anybody that thinks that this can continue forever might be in for a rude awakening. Bubbles have never been able to sustain themselves. So one of the things that we should look at right now is, if we have significant equity in property, meaning, let's say you bought this property actually within a year ago or more, you probably have 25% equity, meaning if you bought your house for $500,000, it could very well be, worth $750,000. So one of the things that we know is that if our house is worth more than we paid for it, or there's a good chance if you bought a house, it's worth more than you paid for it. But that doesn't help you right now. That doesn't help you because that's just dead equity sitting there, unless you refi and try to pull, an equity line of credit and just start using that cash up, which is not, in my opinion, very smart. Unless the property needs repairs and you don't have the money on hand to fix it, you shouldn't be accessing equity just because you're like, wow, I got to get some of this money out, unless you have a specific plan for that money to make you money. And so one of the things that Grant Cardone said is that, and I feel the same way, is that if you have significant equity in your house right now, it's probably not a bad idea to sell, get that cash out, and go rent for a while. It's probably one of the smartest things that we can do. There is such a good likelihood that this housing market is going to, at minimum, correct, and possibly a recession and a full-blown depression is quite possible. And again, I'll just rattle off the list of things that are potentially going to interfere with the housing market. You got a volatile stock market tanking, and the stock market can tank instantly. It's not like real estate where it has to go through too many steps before it devalues. Cryptos, highly volatile. Unemployment level is high. Tons of businesses have gone out of business and not come back. Eviction moratoriums have not been lifted. There's a lot of people still in their homes not paying rent. And mortgage forbearance programs have not ended. Nobody's paying their mortgage yet that took those. And so that is just scratching the surface. So for me, I'm very tempted to take my gains and just go rent. I have a saying, and I've said it many, many times, is it's not important. Let me rephrase. It's not as important to own where you live. It's just important to own. So don't feel like, oh, I need to own my house. I've met successful people that rented their house and owned plenty of other properties. They like to rent where they live because it allows them to not get too married to the asset, to tunnel vision. Because if you've bought in a house, it's all about the house. You're at Home Depot or Lowe's every weekend. You're constantly working on the thing. And so when we rent, we sometimes can improve the quality of our life because we don't feel as tied to the house. I would much prefer to own where other people live than where I live. I want wealth. I want monthly income. I want residual income. That's what's important for me. I would rather go buy a house, convert the garage, or add some addition to it and rent it out. And then if stuff ever hit the fan, meaning like if there was some problem with me, like if I all of a sudden, I needed money, well, I could always move into the rental unit and rent out the main house and be cash flowing even harder. So it's not as important to own where you live. It's just important to own. So right now, because we're in the biggest bubble we've ever seen, I don't believe you're gonna see, or me, much more appreciation out of our assets, i.e. our real estate. And right now is about as much money as you're gonna make. And even if the properties continue to level or even go up a tick, what I'm currently seeing, I was just talking to somebody, they're going on the market. They're like, I'm getting out. And we already know there's not a shortage of inventory. There's more than enough inventory. There's just some buyer frenzy. There's more buyers in the market than ever before. So that's actually get lumped in with our potential, liability, along with everything else we've talked about, whether it's mortgage eviction, stocks, cryptos, unemployment, homelessness, more buyers than ever in the market. These are just not healthy trends. So unless we get into where we're a renter nation and Wall Street buys up, which they're already doing, buying these real estate. And, this is really the time to, if you've got significant equity, if you can walk away with a lot of money, it would not hurt you, in my opinion, to start considering what that would yield you and just go rent for a while. And then if the market crashes, you can come back in and buy that house back at a discount. And so, that's really what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot of smart people, much smarter than me, Grant Cardone saying, don't buy right now, rent. Just wait. There's no reason to go leverage yourself. Again, we're seeing people spending 50 to 75% of their income just to get into a home. You don't want to be house poor. It's not worth it. It is not worth it, especially if you're buying at the height. The only way you should be buying right now is if you are very liquid, very fluid, very cash heavy. You can afford to buy that home cash. No matter what the economy does or the markets do, it's not going to affect you. If you have any risk tolerance when it comes to what the market does or the economy does, could affect you, where your housing is, not a good idea. Better off renting. You can always just move. That's what I love about renting, is that I get to move whenever I want. Love it. Absolutely love it. Later on in life, when I'm out of energy, and I'm sitting in a chair watching sports instead of working, then maybe I go ahead and settle into something, and it's not going to be anything in some inflated marketplace. Once you're delegated to just chilling at home in your chair for the rest of your life, you don't have to live in a $1 billion district just to do that. You can go anywhere and do that. So right now, that is really the way I'm seeing things, folks. So I hope that helps a little bit. So please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to comment back and talk to you guys. And remember, the next time you think real estate, you think Scott Walters. Thanks for checking in. We'll see you soon.